The skateboarding community is helplessly divided over a single topic. No, it isn't about who the GOAT of skateboarding is, nor is it about the best boards. It's about Zumiez. In this video, we'll go over all the hatred that Zumiez has to go through in its own community, picking apart the reasons for the hate and whether or not they deserve it. Keep watching till the very end to find out your next best course of action, because you might just end up hating Zumiez too. Before Zumiez was the hip and tubular company that skaters love to hate today, there were a small company called Over the Belt, established in 1978 in Seattle by Thomas Campion and Gary Hackinson. They initially built this store as nothing more than a clothing store. Thomas and Gary were former managers at a JCPenney that took a leap of faith for their own business venture. So it's no surprise that their business venture would operate similarly to a JCPenney. Directionless, bland, but successful. So successful, in fact, that the company began opening up other branches of Over the Belt, and the duo's dream was slowly coming alive. But a business can only survive so long without direction, and so Thomas and Gary put their heads together and thought of a new concept. At the time, extreme sports was slowly becoming a popular trend among the youth. Sports like skateboarding, snowboarding, and motocross were slowly gaining traction among the community. But Thomas noticed something peculiar. Although extreme sports were becoming popular, there really wasn't a shop that catered to that specific market. All of a sudden, Thomas and Gary had a niche in the market that they could fill, and with a quick few changes in their product line and branding, Zumiez was born in 1994. Now that Zumiez filled in this niche for the community, you'd think that Zumiez would become a community favorite. Weirdly enough, the opposite happened, with the skateboarding community in particular delivering most of the hate. This hate was warranted because of a number of things. Stepping away from the skateboarding community for a hot second, we have the first problem. Zumiez is an abrasive brand built to cater to abrasive sports. At the time, only a few parents can be proud of their kids getting into the skateboarding community. Most people view skateboarding as a bum sport where people are disobedient and don't contribute to society, and Zumiez leaned hard into this. Upon getting space at the malls, many people immediately spoke up about Zumiez not belonging to the mall because of how different it looks. While most days skateboarding culture and fashion are trendy, back then, people thought it was horrendous. Zumiez stores were designed with one theme in mind: a messy teenager's bedroom and a closet filled with all the grunge and posters that any growing boy in the 2000s could have. The shelves were a beautiful mess, the walls were lined with in-your-face skateboard decks, and there was even a colorful couch customers could sit in to play some Xbox while they shopped. A clever way to keep your customers in the store for longer. The interior design wasn't really helping either. Industrial motif stores and malls were unheard of during the time and were mostly relegated to bars and outlet stores. But Zumiez pushed on, knowing full well that the industrial look fit their target demographic. Couple this with loud music that's popular among the skateboarding community, and you have a noise complaint waiting to happen. But although the stores may look and sound the part, therein lies the first problem of the skateboarding community. Back in the early days of Zumiez, the company made a great effort to make sure that their salesmen and women were well versed in the skateboarding community. Heck, most of them were even encouraged to look and dress the part. Grungy teenagers never felt more at home. This came with the requirement that they all had to have been involved in the community somehow, given insights on the parts and the processes of the boards, and all of them must be able to give at least a crumb of advice when it comes to choosing parts for beginners. You wouldn't exactly buy a car from someone who doesn't know how to drive, right? Sadly, that's exactly what happened. Sometime in the later years of Zumiez, management began loosening the restrictions and began hiring people who sound like they knew what they were doing. People who would dress up as a skateboarder, mimic everything that a skateboarder would say, but in reality are only there to make Zumiez money. Now, this would be harmless in other places. I mean, everyone has to make a living, right? But things get even worse when you let them handle your boards. Reports of Zumiez workers scuffing skateboard decks because of mishandling stock started surfacing. Zumiez salesmen not being able to identify certain skateboarding brands. Heck, one of them couldn't even recognize who Tony Hawk is. Sadly, this ignorance quickly spread to their products as we move on to the next reason on our list. The salesmen aren't the only posers in a Zumiez store. The products are too. Go into any Zumiez store today, and you may be surprised to find it lacking quite a bit when it comes to skateboarding hardware. Sometime during Zumiez's lifespan, the focus of the company shifted from providing extreme sports fashion and equipment to just being supporting sports fashion. This was most likely due to the fact that brands like Thrasher and Rip and Dip were becoming popular in mainstream media, transforming from a skateboarding brand to a streetwear brand, and there is definitely money in streetwear. Well, if the clothes are good, then the hardware in the shop has to be good too, right? Haha, wrong. Skateboarding is a very meticulous sport, with each component playing a huge part in the ride of your skateboard. That's why some skateboarders keep an eye out for artisan brands that guarantee you will have the best performance. Artisan brands which Zumiez sadly doesn't even bother to carry. I mean, why bother, right? The shoppers at Zumiez wouldn't really know the difference between hard and soft wheels, and they most likely haven't heard of thunder trucks. That's because if there's one common theme here, it's the fact that Zumiez has stopped catering to skaters. It's really catering to people who want to look like skaters. Which leads us to the biggest atrocity on this list. Skateboarding is more than just a sport. It's a community. It's a community of people who bond and support each other, welcoming newcomers into the scene if they're interested enough. This was the vibe that early Zumiez and local skate shops have. A community of skateboarders building a store for skateboarders. Local skate shops are known for helping the community by introducing newcomers to veterans in a space where questions are welcome. Local skate shops give you the insider tip when choosing the best parts for your skateboard. Heck, local skate shops even support the community by hosting skateboard tournaments. But through all this love and passion that the local skateboard shops have, they are still beaten out by one simple thing: price. Compared to local skateboard shops, Zumiez products are notably cheaper. That's because Zumiez can afford to buy more items in bulk, and the higher the quantity, the lower the price. This is also the primary reason why Zumiez doesn't offer artisan skateboarding brands, because those brands don't ship in bulk and are less profitable. This low price point established by Zumiez makes Zumiez the smarter purchase, stealing the profit off the local skate shops and eventually driving them out of business. There have even been some reports of a Zumiez store popping up in a town mall and staying just long enough for the local skate shop to dry up and go out of business. These Zumiez stores then pull out and leave the skateboarding community for dead. Although Zumiez is given the extra effort of occasionally hosting tournaments and skaters, these moments are scarce and don't happen as frequently as local skate shops. But now that we've vilified what is probably the biggest skateboard brand retailer in the West, what's the next best choice? Let's face the bitter truth. Buying from Zumiez is an inevitability. Most skateboarders have accepted that Zumiez is here to stay, and most of them would also tell you that buying from Zumiez isn't a mistake, especially if you're a beginner. Some Zumiez employees have even gotten into the habit of promoting the local skateboarding scene as well, considering how little the hardware choices of Zumiez can be. So while Zumiez is indeed a toxic thorn in the skateboarding community, it is still up to the community to keep itself alive. And it looks like skateboarding is going to be gliding along for a long time.